So in my country right now, there's a politician by the name of Craig Kelly who's copying a lot of flack, and perhaps he's over the target. I want to have a look into what he's saying and whether or not what he's saying is as crazy as everyone makes it sound. Some of the things that have happened against him is that all the mainstream media seem to have demonized him. The Prime Minister has moved to, I don't know if to censor him, but at least ask him to cease and desist the line of investigation that Craig Kelly is undertaking. It's to do with COVID and particularly the treatment of COVID. And one of the opposition have written to Facebook and asked for him to be censored on Facebook, which isn't very good at all. So I want to see not necessarily what the truth is because it's extremely complicated and medical, and I am no doctor, but I want to see if there is at least any sort of basis for Craig Kelly's claims. To be really clear on this video is not supposed to be about whether or not you can cure COVID with any of the drugs being mentioned in the articles by Craig Kelly, but it's just, can our politicians speak? I mean, there's 150 people in the lower house, 74 people in the upper house. That's 224 people that we've elected as representatives. One of them wants to challenge the status quo. Why are we silencing this person? If they're democratically elected, just let them speak. We can vote them out in a little while. You don't need to police their statements, or you don't need to censor them. Or do you? Let's find out exactly what he said. So this is Craig Kelly here. I'd get you a better photo of him, but there really isn't one. And you can see here Labor, which is the opposition party, has written to Facebook, as if you do such a thing, to urge the social media platform to continue to monitor Craig Kelly's page for harmful content, demanding appropriate action of public health. So this is the attempt at censorship of an elected official. And this guy's story is that there's a drug out there, and I'm going to have to read the name of it, hydroxychloroquine, the drug with a big choco name, HCQ we'll call it, is actually effective. Now I remember Trump talking about this, and I remember getting a lot of attention early on. But in Australia, there have been, and I quote, there have been new restrictions placed on who can initiate therapy using it. Only certain types of specialists will be able to prescribe it from now on. So this is a new thing from March 20 this came in. Now this drug's been around for 70 years. It's been used to treat malaria forever. We know so much about it. But now suddenly it's illegal. Why? You see, the issue is that everyone just wants to walk into their doctors and tell them what's wrong with them, and the doctor is free to ask questions. Are you sleeping? Are you eating? How is your health and exercise and diet? And okay, here's a prescription. Go and get this from the pharmacy. And you can bring up all sorts of things that you might want to bring up in private, like you might have a drinking problem, or you're pregnant and you don't want to tell your boyfriend or something like that. But in Australia right now, at the moment, as in much of the other world, the government seems to be stepping in and outlawing certain drugs. And this HCQ, which I'll call it hydroxychloroquine or whatever it's called, has been treating malaria for 70 years and has always been prescribable. But of late, in Queensland, it's become a criminal offence to prescribe it. And in Victoria, it's been outlawed. And I think Australia-wide, you can only prescribe it to a patient if they were already getting it pre-March 2020. So I don't know what happens if you get malaria. I don't know why you would, but if you got malaria in Australia recently, can you not treat it? Or perhaps you have to treat it with something else. It's not a question of conspiracy theories. It's a question of why is suddenly the government taking sides in the prescribing of drugs. I can understand that we've outlawed thalidomide and certainly dangerous things, but this drug's been given to people for 70 years and it has no side effects. So why outlaw it? And you can see here, apparently Australia has a thing called Magic app where we get our advice for Australian guidelines for the clinical care of people with COVID-19. And here's this HCQ, and it says do not use HCQ for the treatment of COVID-19. So this is the official advice that all our doctors have been given, and the research evidence, you can see there's a whole bunch of research down here. Now, you can see this finding says HCQ does not decrease death, has no impact for the need for this, probably has little impact on the number of patients. HCQ probably has a little impact. HCQ probably increases adverse events, so that's a bad one. We are uncertain whether or not. So they seem mixed. There's quite a few in favor of using HCQ. However, coming again further, there are some studies, and this is the one that Craig Kelly has been citing. He's been citing many. It's out of Saudi Arabia, and it's a test, and it concludes early intervention with HCQ-based therapy in patients with mild to moderate symptoms as presented is associated with lower adverse clinical outcomes. So it seems a good thing based on this. And there's a doctor in Ontario who's been tweeting that we need to use HCQ.
The thing about a drug that's been around for 70 years is that the patent's long since expired, and you can get that sort of like chemist brand over the counter, easy peasy, lemon squeezy sort of cheap stuff that has low profit margins because anyone can produce it. The stuff that's being recommended is the stuff that's still under patent, which only one drug company in the world can produce and has massive profit margins. So the allegation is that Big Pharma is involved in bribing doctors or coercing people or something like that, so that only their super profitable drug can be sold and not the really cheap stuff at which anyone can make a buck out of.
Now, where a lot of the controversy started was with, there's a Lancet, the Lancet. Apparently this is a really great medical journal. I don't know, but they published findings that HCQ was very dangerous, and then they had to retract them because the study was debunked. It was bogus. They made a lot of mistakes. I've since found that, however, more lately, November 20, they've produced another study which said, along with these randomized control trials, this study provides important evidence that HCQ does not prevent COVID-19. Now, this is November 20. The Queensland government, the Australian government outlawed this HCQ in March. So that's, it's ages ago. It's 8 months before this. They really went early at this. And you can see here again, this is so the rationale for the Australian government outlawing HCQ is mostly based on the idea of this recovery trial. Now, before that, there was this thing by Surgisphere. But since the authors have been unable to back up the raw data, this paper cannot be taken as valid. So then we undertook to do a new thing, and people in England had this recovery trial report which said HCQ doesn't work at all. We have concluded that there are no beneficial effects of HCQ in patients hospitalized with COVID-19. Okay, fine, so it doesn't help. Does that mean you outlaw it? Nevertheless, it has been outlawed. However, if you come down to the comment section here, there's a comment in which someone says, this article failed to mention that they used dangerous doses of HCQ, 2,400 milligrams in the first 24 hours and 9,600 milligrams in 10 days. Plenty of government agencies over the world set the limit to 600 milligrams. That's 4 times more. Now, I've heard this a few times, that this whole recovery trial report actually killed people by overdosing them with this HCQ. Now, that's a big claim, and I'm not saying it's true, but it's been backed up. I know the French don't like the English, but by this website Francois, in which it says the same sort of thing, that there were overdosing going on. And this I won't mention the doctor's name because I don't want to insult him or anything like that, but it sounds as though he might get in a bit of trouble from overdosing patients. Now, our man Craig Kelly, again, that's pretty much the best photo you'll find of him. He's been doing a lot of media on this, and the media of trying to destroy him, but he's been holding his own. And if you watch this whole video, you can see he does it in this as well. He holds his own really well. I just want to point out that I stand with Craig Kelly's trending on Twitter, and if you look at these comments, I didn't choose these comments. They came up on their own. Luke Shaw says she didn't even acknowledge anything he said, and Craig Brown says it's not credible for Alison to claim she went through all the research papers. Keep reading them. Go and find today when he goes on there, and there's another one on their Facebook page in which Craig Kelly has a stoush with another politician in the halls of Parliament. All the comments down the bottom are really supportive of him, and it's the thing that this mainstream media doesn't seem to get, that the public is awake that the mainstream media is biased. I think somewhat interestingly, this is my Twitter page, and this is what I tweeted after I found the article in which the doctor that Craig Kelly backed some of Craig Kelly's claims up. This is the article that was written in theage.com, but when I click on the link, it seems broken. And okay, fair enough, maybe I just got the link wrong, but I don't think I did. But if I just copy, say this much, I think surely I'm going to get some sort of hit. Yep, there it is. Let's try this. Oh, there's another one. Now it's gone. Is this some deep state? Aha, fair enough. One news page. So Sydney Morning Herald took it down, or is it just crashed? The Age certainly took it down, but I can only find it on whatever one news page is. Trusted news since 2008, but I got the full article. Cannot find the page you asked for. I don't know what's going on there. You know more about tech than I do, and you probably do. Maybe you can help me with that.
And whilst I still can't find the article that Dr. Robert Clancy wrote for the Sydney Morning Herald, I do remember what it said. It said that he doesn't agree with a lot of things that Craig Kelly, excuse me, has said. But on this, he does agree with him that HCQ does improve your chances of surviving COVID. And he is a very senior immunologist. Craig Kelly says he's the most senior immunologist in Australia. And the article says that he would take it himself. And he made the point that there's two phases of COVID. When you first get it, you don't have any symptoms. And when you get it, when you have symptoms. And I believe what Dr. Clancy said was that when you got all the symptoms and you were in hospital on a ventilator and everything, yeah, okay, it does nothing for you. But until that point in time, when you're just walking around, it does help prevent it, and he would take it, and he believes that it is beneficial for people to use HCQ. But like, why outlaw it? It seems a big thing to outlaw a drug that doesn't hurt you and might be helpful, and lots of studies are saying that it could be helpful. So, of course, the trump card in all of this is, of course, Donald Trump. He came out very early on and said HCQ is the best thing for it and they're going to roll it out. And at that point in time, as with all points in time during his presidency, the media were just destroying him every chance they could. And if he said 1 + 1 = 2, they were saying no, it equaled 3. And he says HCQ does work, and so everyone's just got to say it doesn't work. So perhaps we should be getting a drug that would save us all from this thing, but we're not doing it because everyone just wants to prove Trump wrong all the time. Look, maybe, but maybe not as well. So in summary, yeah, like I totally think that Craig Kelly should be able to say what he wants. He's just one out of more than 200 politicians that we have. That's not so bad. It's less than 1%. Let him speak. Don't try and censor him. Look, I'm still going to do what the doctors tell me to do, but I'm listening to him. And I don't, like, what's the expression? You don't take flack until you're over the target. I think he might be over the target here. He's taken a ton of flack. I don't know why the government is outlawing drugs that don't hurt you and might help. Surely it's for the doctor to use their own discretion, take advice from specialists and people that they trust in journals, and then prescribe or not prescribe. I, for one, really like the idea of the doctor having the freedom to do what they want within reason. And it would seem that HCQ is within reason. But you know what? I'm no expert. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. I think somewhat interestingly, this is my Twitter page, and this is what I tweeted after I found the article in which the doctor that Craig Kelly backed some of Craig Kelly's claims up. This is the article that was written in theage.com, but when I click on the link, it seems broken. And okay, fair enough, maybe I just got the link wrong, but I don't think I did. But if I just copy, say this much, I think surely I'm going to get some sort of hit. Yep, there it is. Let's try this. Oh, there's another one. Now it's gone. Is this some deep state? Aha, fair enough. One news page. So Sydney Morning Herald took it down, or is it just crashed? The Age certainly took it down, but I can only find it on whatever one news page is. Trusted news since 2008, but I got the full article.
Cannot find the page you asked for. I don't know what's going on there. You know more about tech than I do, and you probably do. Maybe you can help me with that.